In his early 20s, Eli started his journey in his mother's basement, diving into copywriting and sales. Fast forward today, he's one of the best minds in marketing on the come up. As the former head of sales and marketing for Andrew Tate, Eli played a key role in generating 129 million in revenue and building a global brand that reached millions. Known for his innovative strategies such as leveraging affiliate marketing and organic content distribution, Eli has redefined how brands achieve reach and influence. Now, as the founder of Cloud Profit, he continues to work with high profile personalities, helping them master personal branding, marketing, and sales. Eli's expertise lies in crafting impactful strategies and teaching others how to create fast and lasting success in the digital age. Quick disclaimer, I had fever when we did the podcast, so don't be surprised if my voice isn't on point. Let's go enjoy the pod. Welcome to the next episode of the Impact Millions podcast. In English again after 50 episodes, and you already heard an intro about my guest today. But for everyone who doesn't know you, Eli, just introduce yourself, 60 to 90 seconds, who you are, what you do, where you're from, and why you're here today in a dark room with me somewhere in Austria.
Well, first of all, Chris, thank you. It's a pleasure to have me on here. My name is Eli Pampa. I'm the former head of sales and marketing at Andrew Tate, and now I run Cloud Profit with 17 of the 25 marketers who generated 99% of all the traffic for Andrew Tate and Luke Ballmer. So, we've got a decent amount of experience in marketing and sales, and we've worked with some pretty big names. And Chris is here basically just to ask me questions about my experience, what we've done, and hopefully you guys can get some insight as to exactly the tactics and methods that we utilized in the past and in the present now, and what's actually working in this current marketplace.
Really interesting. So for many successful people, the drive starts in their childhood. If you look back, it's mostly not just one thing happened, it's many things happened one after another. If you look back. So like Steve Jobs said, you only can connect the dots when you look back. And it's for many entrepreneurs the same. So when you look back to your childhood, if I met you with like 13, 14 years old, around that, who was Eli back then? You were the cool guy, you were the good guy in school. How was your life, your background?
At 13, 14 years old, I was just finishing the 8th grade, I think. I was raised in Canada, was born in the United States, and I was just dedicated to soccer, to football. I was on the field 4 or 5 hours a day, and that's ultimately what I went on to do at a youth professional level in South America, and later on I went on to become a D1 player in the United States. Later I got injured, but that was my life, just school, soccer, go study. If I didn't get 100% of my grades, my dad would hit me with a belt, but I have no bad feelings about that. I'm very glad that he did that. And ultimately, it made me the person that I am today. And I'm very happy for it, for sure.
Interesting. When you look back, okay, so you wanted to be a soccer player. So is what was like your dream.
Yeah, but I think more than anything, it was the pursuit of excellence that drove me. I always wanted to win. I always wanted to compete. And I kind of had to, right? Because obviously my parents had extremely high standards for me, had extremely high standards for myself. And that translated over to every aspect of my life. It's difficult when people only start to be excellent when they're later on in life, 18, 19, they want to change their lives. But really, this is something that has to come from a very young age, in my opinion. You have to be almost bred for it.
Yeah. Really interesting to hear like the many different stories, not just in the podcast when I interview people, also when I talk to friends who are really successful in different areas, because somehow like every background is similar, but also different in a way. But if you look back, you see there's always something that drives them. So or many things. Some were athletes, some were like really bad at everything, but that's their driver because they want to be good. And when they were teenagers, they started to enlight this fire to do something because they always were the loser back then, stuff like that. So what's really interesting, you had like the soccer, you had like your background in Canada, you grew up there, and then started to build like your own business, kinda. So, and in one of the podcasts you did recently, or the podcast you did recently, you talked a little bit about how you got in touch with like the War Room and Andrew Tate and what you did at that time. So how did that happen? So how did you meet Tate and or met Tate, and how did you like start off with your own business?
Well, the way that I met Tate was I joined the War Room. It was in September of 2020. And the reason why I joined the War Room back then was because I was really in a dark place in my life. This was after COVID, so everybody was sent home. I was going to college in the States, Duke University. I was sent home. I had recently gotten injured, so I could no longer play soccer. Right. So that was my whole life before. My whole purpose in life was to play soccer. I didn't care about anything else. I didn't have that anymore. Right. In college, I would party from ages 18 to 19, partying, alcohol, drugs, like all the bad stuff that you can put inside your body. So my health was ruined. I had horrible skin. I would vomit food. I was in the lowest possible point. I had no money. I had no social friends, circle, nothing, because it was COVID. You couldn't go out. There was no girls. So I was just stuck in my mom's basement and I had nothing. And then I came across Tate, who was traveling the world, who was doing on paper all the things that a red-blooded male could want. He was doing those things, and that inspired me. So I went and I watched all of his content. I paid with my last money, the Canadian stimulus check that we got back in the day. I used that money to buy the War Room, got inside, learned everything possible. Then in 2021, Tate was having an event in Miami in about April of 2021. I paid money to go there. I was making money with copywriting already, freelancing. Went there, met Tate, pitched myself to him. He thought I was competent, thought I was smart. He said, go speak to Luke. And then Luke hired me, got into sales, broke all the records, became head of sales, became head of marketing as well, and then I guess the rest is history.
Crazy. So that's that was quick, but I guess the journey was a little bit longer, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it's interesting. I always were really interested into like how things happened and the journey. So I want to get into that before we go to the next question. You said you joined the War Room. So you basically did one thing, you paid to play. There are many ways to network with people, and one is to like pay to play. So, and you joined the War Room. What was the amount you paid back then?
Back then, the War Room was about 1,200, I think, pounds sterling, something like this.
Okay. So it's I think it's much higher now. I don't know.
Yeah. It quickly went up to about 8,000 US dollars.
Okay. Yeah. So if like the value is there, and especially the people who are interested, so it makes sense. Okay, interesting. So you joined the War Room, and then you went to the Miami event. So and you introduced yourself to Tate. For many people, that would be a really hard thing to pitch themselves to someone.
Yes.
Online or live, especially for the young generation. It's really hard for them to talk to someone in real life and to pitch themselves in any smart way, because you might think, okay, what do I have to offer to this guy? So how did you do that? And maybe you have an advice about that specifically for young guys, how to pitch themselves or introduce themselves to someone.
Well, first of all, get your shit together, right? Like be in shape, look good, dress well, come professionally, understand the dynamic you have between the people that you're going to be pitching yourself to. That person has unlimited options. You've got to present yourself as the best possible option. And the only thing you really have to give is time. And you have to make it worth their while for them to teach you. And that requires you to make an impression upon them. Really, there's no other way to put this. You've got to be a winner, first and foremost. And then you just got to go do it. You're never, ever going to be 100% ready. You have to just go do it, jump in. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, reflect back, go back and look at the bad things that you did, and then do them better for the next time. That's just what it is. You just can never quit. Eventually, you'll get to the objective that you want to reach, right?
Mm. That's great advice. So like 90% of my listeners, or I think most people who are going to listen to that podcast are going to be many young men, especially, who are on the come up, who want to do something, who maybe are looking for something or have already their own business. So I have also many entrepreneurs listening to the podcast who already have a big business and a good amount of employees. So, but for everyone, it's really important. And especially for if you want to network with people, to have that skill. So build yourself up and then learn like the skills to put it into work, in real life. So you started to work then with Tate or with Luke?
Yes, mostly with Luke. So Luke was running all the sales and marketing back then. Tate was the guy on camera. He was speaking. He was doing all the real life stuff. He was out. He would schedule time every single day to have fun because that was necessary. Luke just worked all the time. He was a robot. So I was with Luke. Did the sales first. Spoke to leads on Instagram, on Twitter as Tate, on the live chat, on emails, on Telegram, calls. Every possible way that we could speak to somebody, we spoke to people. And I guess there was at the start about 40 other people that I was working with, and I became the number one. I just was better. I don't know how else to say this. I learned and was better and became head of sales. Had my own team after. Later on, I got head of marketing because marketing is just sales to many people without immediate feedback. And so that naturally translated over, and I just kept getting roles because I just kept performing, right?
What do you think? Is this like you outworked all the other guys, or you outlearned? What was like the main thing you think? What you did better? You improved faster. What was the main thing?
Honestly, I've always just been a winner at life. I've always just whatever I've done, I've been the best. In school, I was number one in my school. And soccer, obviously, among the people that I played in Canada, I went to play at a youth professional level and later on went to play in university level in the States, which nobody did, right? So I mean, I've always had this, but like here's the thing. I'm not anybody special. You can learn to be disciplined. You can learn to be smart. You can improve your diet so that you can think better and more clearly. You can improve the people around you, remove all the negative influences, have people around you who are positive, who are always pushing you, who hold you accountable, be accountable yourself, have some sort of experience or trauma in your life that pushes you, select that and use that to propel you. And like, here's the thing, nothing can replace years in the game, but the right amount of experience during those years will put you much closer to the top the more that you go down that path, right? But you have to want it first.
Yeah, definitely. So for the work with Luke and the whole process in the background, so you talked about the live chat on the Cobra page, and also how the website was structured. So it's not just like a normal website. There was value there, and there was the live chat.
Yes.
So how did you work with the live chat on the website, and why was it so effective to just like get new clients on or new customers?
So first of all, live chat was one aspect of our sales funnel, right? We had the live chat, again, we had the Instagram, Twitter, every possible angle we could speak to people on calls, Telegram, emails. We spoke to people, right? Now they would go on the website, covertate.com, then they go to the live chat. And on the live chat, they could message us. And usually people think on the live chat that it's just, some third world Indian or some Filipino working on there and he's not very smart. But our live chat was professionally trained salesmen and consultants. So when you message a live chat, you got an answer from James or from Dylan. And when you spoke to James or Dylan, he blew your mind. No, he would know everything about everything more than you did, about finance, about relationships, about health. You ask him any question, he'd be like, "Whoa, this guy's a genius. Whoa, that's weird. What? He's a genius. Tate's cool. Tate's a genius, and now the live chat's also a genius. Like, what is that?" So we developed a reputation for having a live chat that was built with geniuses. So people would come back all the time, try to get value from us, try to get some sort of answer solved, and this was the way to do it. Because to sell somebody, they need to trust you, they need to believe in you. And they're only going to trust and believe in you if they view you as more of an authority than them. Right? And this is exactly what we did with the live chat. And we did it with every other possible aspect of our sales funnel as well. Every touch point, we had people highly trained. If somebody wasn't highly trained like this, we cut them out. Of course, it was very important. The brand is built at the human level, one-on-one, right? You market to many people with content, but one-on-one, you have to speak to people. Right? You build relationships with people, and over time, you build goodwill, and that goodwill eventually turns into money, into buying your offers.
So with that said, you shared also in one of your videos, and you shared it now as well, the long-term customer relationship before they're even a customer. So
Yes.
the touching points.
Yes.
So what are the key strategies or the key points to just keep someone, like, let's say, in the funnel, or to decide, okay, is it the right moment to pitch, or maybe to add value and pitch in the future? So what do you think are like the main things?
First of all, it's a human thing, right? All marketing is ultimately about humans interacting with humans. So you have to have the trust. You have to have the authority. You have to have the goodwill. You have to actually be somebody who cares about people. You have to care about your audience. You cannot just build your audience and be like, I'm going to make a bunch of money off them. No, you're there to solve a problem that they have, to fulfill a need that they have, and you have to care about them. They have to feel this. You have to make them feel this, right? They have to be inspired to this. That's one aspect of it. But then also it's the product itself. If your product is not world class, not the best in its category, you're going to have a difficult time. You're going to have a lot of competition. The better your product can be, along with you having the human aspect of it, where people trust you and they have goodwill towards you. If you have both those things, your leads are not going anywhere. They might go away for a second or two, few weeks, few months. They go and consume other stuff, but they're always going to think at the back of the mind, this brand is different. This business is different. I have to come back to this all the time. They look at other options. They're not as good. This one's inferior, has less results. This person doesn't care about me, but this person does. And this person has results. And they always come back. So no leads are ever lost as long as you have a business like that.
So I think that's really interesting because many focus only on getting the close now, to close the customer, to close the client. And if you like, I tell people, just think about yourself. So how many times you need to be targeted sometimes, or what do you want? So especially, let's say the war room. So if you paying someone 7K, so or 8K, if you're making a lot of money, it's a different conversation. But still, you still think about, okay, I'm not just putting the money to someone if I think they only want the money without the value, and if they're already getting the value before they even bought, or a lot of value, I think it's a great thing to do, and most are not too focused because they want the money now. So and that's one thing that's what I really liked about that, and also the live chat, because Instagram and Telegram, everyone is like using that, kind of depends on what they do, but the live chat on the website, I don't know about anyone else who is really using that in that on that level. So do you have anyone else in mind who took advantage of that in any way?
Not to that same extent, really. And I think that just comes down to the professionalism of the operation that we had. Every single possible avenue we had to speak to people was taken advantage of, right? We didn't leave any money on the table. We had somebody for something in every possible facet. I think more businesses need to implement that. They're leaving a lot of money on the table, really.
Actually, after I saw a video of you talking about that, I wrote it down as a note. So, and we are rebuilding the website now for one of our projects, and I said we need to do the live chat, and let's get one for the start, get one guy on there, and let's do it right, and let's see. And I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, well, you definitely also have to have the traffic towards the website too.
Yeah, that's the next point.
You can't just have the guy sitting there doing nothing all day,
Yeah. So I'm not allowing anyone to do nothing. But as you said, like the first step is like the funnel, like mastering the funnel.
Yes.
And you did that with Tate, you do it with your other clients as well. So how was the Tate funnel looking like? Like there was so much content on TikTok, there was Instagram. I'm in the email list for years now. I see there's like content coming, Telegram everywhere. But how was it like structured? What was like the main focus or the main driver of like new people to the website, or new clients or new people for the real world?
Yeah, so the bread and butter of every funnel, even to this day now, is going to be YouTube, long form, right? People need to watch you in a longer content format. You got to think about the hierarchy of influence. What's the most powerful way to influence somebody? Number one way is going to be in real life, one-on-one. Second most powerful way is going to be on a live call. Third most powerful way is on a live stream. But these three ways are not very scalable. You can't meet every single person. You can't call every single person. And you can't live stream 24/7. So then what's the next most influential way to influence somebody? It's going to be a YouTube video, and that's scalable because people can watch it in your sleep at any time. So we focused on YouTube videos. Tate made these YouTube videos, and they helped that he was a fantastic orator and presenter as well, probably best in the world. And he made these YouTube videos, put them on YouTube, and with YouTube itself, you can crack 7 figures per month easily with only YouTube long form. And that's the foundation. You get that done, build out your funnel, build out your VSL, build out your landing page, build out your website in general. People can come in, hang out. Build out X too. That's important. It's not as important as YouTube, right? But X is also a place where you can connect with people. You can have your thoughts, and really has to be a personal thing. Tate was online, Twitter all the time. making tweets for Twitter back in the day. And then you also have the other avenues, short form content, but that's after you have the long form content built up already. After you have not only long form content, quality long form content where you are viral worthy, where people can hear you speak and they're like, yeah, this person is somebody who can demand my attention and I will listen to. Right. So usually most people aren't brave for that. But the mistake most people make is they think, okay, well, Tate did short form content. Okay, I can do it myself. I have a few videos. That's enough. Okay, clip them up. They run out of content, or the editors themselves aren't world class, so they don't get that many views. They kind of scale their operations perhaps to 5, 6 figures and things like this, but they will never reach 7 figures, 8 figures and beyond because they simply don't have the infrastructure in place. They don't have the skill level in place. And that's unfortunately the roadblock for many brand and business owners today.
Mm. I think especially in that space, you, as you said, like it was like everything was working. So there was like from the website through the funnel, through the content output. So, and you said start with YouTube. For someone who is listening to that now and maybe starting off or is doing, let's say, 6 figures a month already, but they're just, it's too much for them to focus on everything. Because if they focus on everything, they maybe, the YouTube videos are getting maybe worse because they're focused on that, so they don't have too much time for that. So what would be like, let's say, the top 3 to focus on? What would you say to build up to a certain point until you have the money to structure everything the perfect way, to have everywhere the like great people who do the job?
The beauty of it is that you don't require that much money. Go into your audience, hire superfans. The best workers are always superfans, people that are bought into your mission and are going to work for cheap. Get those people on, get one guy, hire him up, make him your head of marketing, teach him everything that he knows, right? He'll do all your copywriting, he'll do all your content, he'll do everything. You're just going to be the one on camera speaking and going out into the world and living the life that you preach based on what your brand is centered around, right? So that's the main thing that you have to do. What you need to focus on, obviously, are going to be the YouTube long form. That's what you always need to be pumping out. Secondly, is going to be focusing on sales and your assets. That's going to be a huge needle mover to make more money. You can always improve your VSL. You can always improve your landing page. You can always improve your sales processes and the salesmen themselves. And then finally, only once you have all those things in place, in whole infrastructure, then you can do short form content. That's really going to turbo scale you. But like your head of marketing can manage basically almost all that stuff as long as he's properly trained. It's all about leverage at the end of the day, right? You're doing the things that you need to do, high leverage tasks, and the rest you delegate off to somebody else who's competent. But you really have to choose this person carefully.
One thing I said like 2 days ago to one of my business partners, and I think it's true for the most part. You gave the example with the super fan. So one thing you can't teach is like loyalty, but you can teach many skills. So most of the skills. So it's better to have someone who is really loyal and ready to work than like someone who maybe knows what he does, but is not loyal or requires maybe more headache because they're expecting a certain amount of money from the start. So I think what you said is great, to build the people up with you.
The key is that most people just can't educate those head of marketings, right? They don't know how. You get a super fan, okay, then what do I do? We still got to teach him, right? But once you do teach him, it's such a joy to work with, because this person, if you choose him correctly, and they cannot be too entrepreneurial, they have to be ready to be playing second fiddle next to you. They'll be with you for years and years and years and not going anywhere. The guy who's the typical growth operator, growth partner, he's going to perhaps get an upfront fee, get a cut of your business, right? But is he really going to care about you, or is he going to care about getting the testimonial? You know what I mean? To further grow and get more clients. So you want somebody who's 100% on your side, because the more brain calories and work hours they can put towards your business, the better, because there's unlimited work to do. A business never has a shortage of things to do. There's always something to do.
Yeah, definitely. So you already spoke about like working with Tate and how everything was like basically in line. The team worked, everyone worked, so the work ethic was there, and always the focus on improving, getting better than everyone else.
Correct.
So how was it to work with Tate or with the Tates, with Luke, and what did you learn from them especially? So because I know a lot of listeners are really interested in that, because they're following the content, or they got inspired from them, through them, or they may be in the war room or in the real world. and they want to like just hear how it was and what do you learn from them personally.
Personally. So the biggest thing that people won't really talk about with the Tates is the aura and the energy that they had. And this is something you can really only experience via osmosis, via being around them. It's always the intangibles in life which move the needle the most, which completely alter your reality. You know, all the things, all the tactics, marketing tactics, the way he speaks, etc. Right? You see that and you can study that and you can take that easily. But one-on-one interaction with the person being around him, it's very, very hard to fake. And the things behind the scenes that I've seen as well, some of the stuff he pulls off with people, especially because at the end of the day, life is just skills, value, and people. You got your skills, you got your value, and you've got to master people. Right? The things I've seen him pull off with men and women, how he influences them, how he made them do what he wants to do, how he would reprogram their minds over time to have them think a different way, how he would impulse them into almost irrational decisions just off his pure force. You have to feel that. But then once you feel that, you take that, you make it your own, you put your own signature on it, and you implement that into your own life, and you start getting what you want, right? But that's only possible once you're around people that have that X factor, right? I always like to give the example of Luke Belmer and Andrew Tate. Why was Andrew Tate more successful than Luke Belmer online? Well, it was because Andrew Tate had the X factor. He had that je ne sais quoi, that energy that you couldn't quite replicate. And obviously, if Luke Belmer had the same thing, he would have had also better results, right? But that's the main difference, right? Being around these people, osmosis, you cannot acquire this any other way. You have to have felt it firsthand, for sure.
What's interesting, what I found out over time. So I personally liked Tate from the start. I always liked the content and everything. So also like Tristan's content and Belmer as well.
Yeah.
So personally, Belmer attracted me more through his podcast than Tate. I think like what Luke Belmer does and what he says and what he's focused on, he attracts maybe more, let's say, older guys or experienced guys as well.
More high-level guys.
My high-level guys. So it might change now, but I like his content as well. But I get what you mean, the X factor. It's
Yes.
like there's a difference. So
Here's an interesting point, actually, and there's a reason why my own brand, I do not build this as a cult-like following. I'm a guy who's on, even playing field with the people that I speak with, is because the high-level people, the business owners, the brand owners, right? They're astute and they're intelligent enough to see through when somebody's trying to build a cult-like following. They're like, this guy's, I see what he's doing. But the young guys, the impressionable guys, they're gonna be like, wow, who is this guy? Like, he has his cars, these women, he's a kickboxer, all these things. Wow, right? But the older guys are like, yeah, I've seen that, done that a million times, right? But what the higher level guys will respond to is to respond to case studies, proof, intelligent arguments, and viewpoints, things like this, things that are more intellectual and tangible, right? And someone who comes to them with an honest and earnest attitude of, here, I'm ready to share what I know, and let's talk and let's do business, right? This attitude that Luke Belmer had more closely than Tate. So that's why he attracted the audience that he did, right?
You already talked about like cult-like following.
Yes.
And Tate and you guys did that on a big schedule, in a really, really big. And I talked to many people who follow the Tates and they're hardcore super fans.
Yeah.
So I understand it for at one side, but it's crazy sometimes when I talk to younger guys, especially.
Yeah.
So the question is to ask it simple, like how did you do it, or what was the main focus from the start to build up the cult? There are books about that as well, but I'm just like asking for someone who is not too much into that topic.
Sure. So to build a cult-like following, it was done meticulously, of course. You need a cult-like leader. Right? Think of Christianity. It started with Jesus, and then Christianity followed. Think of Islam. It started with Muhammad, and then Islam followed. Right? The same thing with the cult-like following of Tate. It was Tate himself. You have to almost believe that this person who was leading the cult is fundamentally better than you for you to buy into the cult in the first place. They should completely dazzle you to be like, who is this guy? This guy is special. There's something different about him, right? And then you come into the cult and you want to learn from this guy. Now, once you're inside the cult, now the programming starts. Now you change the way that you speak, you change the way that you dress, you change the way that you do everything. And this is done on purpose to separate you from your old reality and bring you into the new reality, which is the cult, right? They employ fear tactics, shame tactics if you don't conform, right? There are punishments, there are rewards. All of this is done by design, right? But again, this only works on perhaps less intelligent and less astute people in the population. The people who can see past that, they don't join cults, right? They're too smart for that.
Yeah. It's really interesting because if you never thought about like cults or that someone is building a cult, and there's another YouTuber who like recently posted a video about that or what he did or someone else did. I'm not 100% sure. You know Hamza.
Hamza.
Hamza, he
Call of
built
Hamza,
yeah, he built something similar, and he talked about the book here, like about that topic. So it's really interesting. So from your view, how did it build up to a cult? Did you saw like a shift through the process where you saw, okay, now there are so many people who are really following that guy from the idea to the outcome?
Well, I had joined the cult originally, like I was one of the people he attracted ultimately, right? And the way that he attracted me was that there was just such a large disparity between our lives. I saw him as this almost demigod for a period, right? And it's simply because many people during COVID were in very vulnerable areas of life. I'm not ashamed to say this, right? We all have our journeys of growth, right? But we grow out of it, and now Tate simply doesn't have the same appeal to me that he had in the past. I have many of the same things that he has now, right? And as you level up in life, as you get more things, as you achieve your dreams and accomplish your goals, you're simply not going to look up to other people the same way that you did.
Yeah,
Right.
it it changes, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're like, someone told me like the goal should be that your mentor becomes your competition. So not in a bad way, but like you to get closer to the level where you don't look up to someone too crazy, and you lived with them, so you saw them like in real life.
For a period.
So
Not
for a
all the
period,
time, yeah.
for a period. So if you meet someone live and you spend a week or 2 or 3 weeks from like someone who was like just so far away from you first, you see, oh, they're humans as well.
They are
So
humans at the end of the day.
they're maybe they're great in what they do, but they're humans at the end of the
they're
day.
just dudes, yeah.
So it's really interesting, just like to watch it from outside. I want to like make a little shift, not specifically to the Tate operation. I have one question after. So you're with your company Cloud Profits. We will link everything under the video. So it's gonna be the YouTube channel, Telegram channel, everything. So guys, check it out. The videos are amazing, and the Telegram channel is also filled with a lot of value. So not everyone does that. So I have a Telegram channel. I put a lot of value in there. I'm in some others. I see, okay, yeah, they're ChatGPT, their content every day, 3 times. You
so
see it.
easily.
So and you don't attract the right people with that. So as we talked, what role does AI play now in content creation, and how do you guys take advantage of it now? Because when you started to build up like let's say the Tate funnel and everything, it was there, but there wasn't like that many tools for videos editing, everything. So how do you use it for maybe Cloud Profit or with your clients?
So personally, I'm not a huge AI user. I mean, I'll use ChatGPT. My editors will use, some AI tools with editing, but I'm not a huge user. I mean, like I outsource everything with AI. The role that I see with AI is that it's good for example, structuring copy, right? Maybe about 60, 70% of the way there. Good for some tools in editing. You can do some animations. You can create some graphics and stuff like this. But ultimately, AI will never replace the charisma and aura that you have in a personal brand that you have to put into it yourself, the human aspect, right? They'll never replace sales because sales is human to human as well. All the human stuff that you can get good at, if you get good at this, you will protect yourself from AI coming to take all of the other roles that are usually now filled by humans, but AI is going to take over all of them, right? Yeah. So you kind of almost have to shift over to stuff that's human focused and cannot be replaced by AI.
Great take about that. That's something I really like, because I tell that our sales guys and like everyone, so the leaders in our companies, because like also like the human to human, that's something you can't replace. And if you get good with that, that's gonna be ask for in the future, because most people are like behind the screens, hide behind the screens, and they don't know how to interact with a human being. There are many of them, and that was a great take about that. So you also are a high energy person. So for me personally, I wasn't like that when I was a teenager, but I became like that for the most part when I'm not sick. But beside that, what is like your advice to stay high energy through the day, or just everything about that? Because your voice messages or your content, it always feels like you, let's say, you slept well and you in a great energy. So how does it work for you to just stay in a great on a great level through the day?
Well, there's a few things that I do. The first thing that I do is I make sure to curate my reality. So anybody who's taking my energy, anybody who is bringing me down, any music that's putting me in a negative state, doesn't matter what it is, I'll just remove it. I don't care. I'll remove it, right? Even if it means perhaps not talking to my parents for weeks on end, or perhaps ignoring your girlfriend sometimes. I'm sorry, but sometimes you have to lock in. Sometimes you cannot have these interactions, right? It's super, super key. And people are like, well, you're a bit extreme about that. But even things like when somebody asks you, like, oh, hey, how you doing, right? When they're around you, your parents, let's say you're going home, right? That kind of throws you off a little bit. You need to kind of have your sanctuary where you just have your own space and you can be in your own energy. So that's one thing. Second thing is health, right? Health is super important. You got to be eating correctly. I personally follow the Primal Diet by Agenus Vonderplanitz, and this I started 3 years ago, and it has totally revolutionized my health. It has cured all of my diseases that I had, and I always sleep 4 to 6 hours per night, and I have unlimited energy all the time. So that's been great. I won't go into too much because that's another rabbit hole. Another thing also that I do is I practice semen retention sometimes, right? Even during sex, I won't come. And I'll do that, and it gives you a lot of energy, although you do sometimes need to release. But in general, you shouldn't have to release all the time because there's a lot of nutrients in your semen that, if are not used for ejaculating, are used then into your body, right? Now, the final, I think one of the most important things that keeps you high energy is you have some sort of purpose. And this purpose can come in the form of usually trauma, right? It's some heartbreak. It's something you've almost grasped and you didn't quite get and really hurt you. Rejection, all these things. Heal from them, right? Because if you let yourself be consumed by them, then they take you in directions you don't actually control. But if you heal from them and then go back and remember what these things felt like and choose which ones you want, then you can have the right motivators for the right moments. And really, that's the secret to unlimited energy. And that's it. I mean, I think life's amazing. I think life's meant to be lived. It's one, and you've only got one shot at this. So like go hard, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I like the advice. So for everyone who is listening, who struggles with energy levels, just like think about all what you said, what Eli said, and see what you can implement in your life. Like,
It's going to be different for everybody, right? You're not going to have the same trauma. You're not going to have the same heartbreak. It's going to be different for every person. Yeah, you got to find what works for you. We're not all cut from the same cloth.
definitely.
Yeah.
So what I've experienced, because I wasn't, when I was a teenager, I wasn't in the best environment, not from my family side, but my friends, everyone was like doing like dumb stuff. So I was like in that environment. I wasn't taking care of my health when I was, and then I started with the gym, and I started to build myself up. I couldn't speak in front of people.
Yeah.
I couldn't speak English at all. I was like, just like building myself up from zero. So all the time when I talk to someone and say, okay, I don't have the charisma, or I don't have like the skills to talk to someone, the sales skills, I say, like, just put in the work, find a purpose, and just do as much as you can in every area, and you're gonna see how you level up and improve yourself. So,
Yeah. Effort is never in vain.
Yeah.
Newton's third law: for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And the results might not be instant, but they are guaranteed, 100%.
what like lessons from failure is also another thing. So we all fail, but you all only fail if you quit. So that someone told me that. So you need to keep going. So after you left like the whole Tate operation, because you were really involved, you started as a like as a fan in a way.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, when I listened to your story, it seemed like you were really like involved, like passionate about the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, and then you left. So How was it from there? So what was like the point then? Did you start right away with the next thing, or how was like the whole thing for you to just leave that behind and start to build up your own thing?
Yeah, so I kind of fell out of love a little bit with the cooperative operation. I couldn't quite get behind it 100%. I also had some moral and ethical qualms that I wouldn't really get into. But basically, I quit the operation and I didn't feel like this money came from a good place. So I just went, I took a break from completely working, right? I've been working very hard for the past 3 years. And I just went on vacations, luxury, spent the money. Like I completely blew through everything and I went almost to zero. But when I went to zero, bro, you know what? You smile and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. Bring it on, you know? You smile when things are hard. And when things are going good, you're like, all right, it's going too good now. Like, let's worry about something. But during that moment, you smile. And again, you're completely correct. As long as you never quit, you're going to be okay. Because again, every effort will compound. Ultimately, you're going to get the result.
And you already had the skill set. So for many people, it depends also on your childhood and many things, but like the connection you have to money.
Yeah.
So, and if you just bet on yourself and you know if I lose it, I can get it back. That's the most freeing thing ever. So you're not too like, okay, I need to take care of that money because if I lose that, I'm done.
Here's the thing, man. Think back to every moment when you've been right on the wire, when you've lost a bunch of money, you almost don't have enough to eat. You always get some money the next day or like the next week or something like this. Like every single time when you need something, you get it.
Definitely.
Has that been true for you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And especially in moments when we lost a lot of money or I did some not that smart investments and then I was like, oh wow, that went away fast.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, okay, so we talked about that. I've like the group with my business partners,
Yes,
and we
yes,
and
totally.
we're like making kind of like making fun about it
Yeah.
because so yeah, it happened. So
Yeah.
let's move on and let's learn and get better and let's do it.
Yeah.
And I think you if you don't take, you can always like be prepared, but if you don't take risks or you don't lose money or lose a business, you don't really learn. So
Yeah, I mean, don't be dumb about it. You know, like
yeah.
don't make stupid investments on purpose. You should try your best, but you're gonna fuck up sometimes, and you learn from it, and it's never really over until the fat lady sings. You know, as long as you're breathing, you have another shot at life.
Yeah, that's true.
Or if you're not in jail, right? Then
Yeah.
you can't do anything.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, so don't do anything illegal, guys.
that's an important
Yeah,
advice.
yeah, yeah, don't go to jail. It's not cool.
Step by step, like organic growth is something like everyone is interested now at the moment, I feel, especially everyone in the online space. There are a lot of agencies who do like who build you an ad funnel and structure meta ads and everything like that. So if you could give like everyone who is listening advice how to like just build up organic growth through their personal brand, what would be like 2, 3, 4 steps you would say, okay, that's important to start off?
Sure. So I'll give you a few perspectives on this. So the paid ads people, right? Because fundamentally what is marketing is you're gonna get traffic and you want conversions, right? So the paid ads, they handle all of the traffic aspect, right? And that's very good and all. Except when you're doing this towards some sort of brand which has a person, which is all brands, basically, you're kind of cheating a little bit because you're basically saying that you're not 100% worthy of getting the attention by yourself, right? Ads are meant to add fuel to the fire once you already have organic content which is popping off, which is already doing very well with your desired target audience, right? You add fuel to the fire of something that's already working. If you add ads to something that nobody wants, it doesn't matter how much money you spend on the ads, you're going to be unprofitable, you're going to waste a bunch of money. Crack organic first. It's so easy once you have the right offer and the right setup, right? And that requires you having the right offer, obviously, and you being the right kind of person, right? The kind of person people want to trust, the kind of person who inspires confidence, the kind of person who people can tell is competent as well, right? So you have that on your offer. And then again, you want to focus on long form YouTube, the most powerful way to influence people, right? Which is long form YouTube. Build that up, go hard, build out your sales funnel, sales assets via sell. Get good at speaking, oration, presentation, become amazing at that as well. That comes through practice and also comes with specific things that you can learn. Master your energy, hire your team, and then eventually then you can scale to short form content once you have the repertoire of long form videos. But many people skip steps. They don't see the power of long form YouTube. You know, you can, within a few months, you can build a six-figure business. Exactly what I did. Club Profit hasn't been making videos up until the last 3 months, 4 months, and we've cracked six figures already, more than that already. That's completely from scratch, right? And now, yeah, of course, our offer is very good. My expertise is obvious as well, but there's so many other businesses, high ticket sales, e-commerce coaching, whatever it is that you want to do. You make long form videos on that. AI agents, agencies. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're at least a little bit ahead of the people that you're trying to teach, right? Then you can build a brand and you can make a lot of money off of that. But if you're completely starting from zero and you have no skills at all, I would just recommend you get a sales job because you need skills. Right? Building a brand, building a business isn't for someone who has zero experience. You do need some experience. You need to be in the trenches a little bit, and then you can pop off and do your own thing.
With Cloud Profit, you already talked about it.
Yeah.
For everyone who is listening, what do you guys exactly do with Cloud Profit? Where you're focused on organic growth, everything, but like just a plug from your side, because you add a lot of value like in the podcast, in the videos. So I linked the YouTube channel once again. Check it out. It's great. So yeah, like just a little bit more about Cloud Profit, what you're focused on, and who can contact you maybe, who is the right client and who is not the right client.
So we work with any front-facing figures, any brand and businesses that have somebody speaking to the camera, which is ultimately every brand and business nowadays. Every brand and business can benefit from someone speaking to the camera. People buy from people, right? So we turn these people into world-class marketers, salesmen, orator, and presenters, right? These are the pillars. And we also teach them some esoteric secrets in order to make them even more powerful. And we teach that inside of an 8-week transformation program called Cloud Profit Academy, where you also get consulting with myself and my team. You can put your team in as well, and we can all be together in a group chat. We can have calls. We can talk to each other. Basically, after 6 months, I download my brain, my team's brain into your team's brain, and you have all of the skills and knowledge of marketing, sales, oration, and presentation, the biggest needle movers in your brand or business. So you can take them for yourself and achieve ultimate influence and on ultimate monetary success as well, right? It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be instant. We're here for the long term. We're not here for quick and easy opportunistic wins, although we will take the wins that are on the table. We're here for multi-year generational wealth ultimately, right? We're not going anywhere. And I hope to think that everybody who wants to contact me is also the same, because if you're just here for cheap, easy wins, then please don't contact me. But if you're here for the long term, contact me and we'll talk.
Nice. To finish off the podcast, and you guys can put questions on YouTube. You can text on Telegram, everything like that. So if you have questions, like just ask Eli.
Yeah.
He's open for that. Especially, I know when you're business owner and you maybe tried different services already and worked with different people, you might have more questions than just like some like basic ones. So to finish off the podcast, let's say you could do a time travel and you talk to Eli like when he was 16, 17, 18 years old, and you could give him one advice, like 1 or 2 sentences or 3 sentences. So what would you tell him if he were like this camera and you can give him like advice?
I just tell him stop being a bitch. Honestly, that's the biggest thing. You just got to go and put yourself out there. A lot of the things that we don't do is because we're inhibited. We have pathologies. We have things that are holding us back. But the thing is, we cannot break those things usually unless there's somebody who can inspire us. And that's partly why a lot of you guys are watching Chris, why you guys are watching this podcast. You're seeing the guests that come on. You're watching Chris himself show you what life is possible, show you the mindsets and mind frames required for you to then go live that life. And if you've never experienced that, you'll never know what it is. The kid in Africa living in a hut will never know what it's like to drive a Bugatti unless he's been there and seen it and done it, right? It's not even within his reality. So it's very important that you expose yourself to this. So that's what I would have done. I was the oldest son growing up, so I had to learn everything the hard way. I had to go and blaze a trail. But now my younger brother and my younger siblings, they'll get to benefit from me teaching them and exposing them to things that I can do, right? So their learning curve is accelerated. But if you can have somebody to tell you and show you what's possible, maybe some older brother, some older uncle, something like this, then it's very, very beneficial. And I wish I would have had that. But life happens this way, and I'm very happy for it. Learn all the lessons along the way, and it's great.
Let's finish with that. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you for your time. Like always, next week we're gonna be back in German again. So for all the English listeners, give us feedback in the comments. I'm focused on doing more English episodes in the future as well. So Yeah, I think it was a great episode, a lot of advice. We'll link everything down below. So see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Mindset, deine Ziele scheinen weit weg. Der Neid, der dich zerreißt, ja, er liefert dir keinen Cent. Alles Mindset. Du hast Angst, dass die Zeit drängt. Merk dir eine Sache, du verlierst, wenn du klein denkst. Alles Mindset.